The woman who was once voted cover girl of the decade is now just selling rubbish to people on TikTok Live. Katie Price, a person who was once one of the most sought after glamour models in the world with a net worth of around 45 million, has now in recent times declared bankruptcy and is forced to sell her beloved possessions just to make ends meet. But why is that? Hello there, I am Cow Does Life, but you can just call me Cow. And if you're new to this channel, we do video essays here, and then we talk about our thoughts and feelings on the subjects in the comment section below. So if that sounds like fun to you, please feel free to subscribe. Ooh, and a random personal life update, I got this new water bottle from my friend John. It's like meant to be like a Minecraft torch, I think. I've never played Minecraft before, but I really like the bottle. Yeah, anyways, back on with the video essay. Today I want to look at Katie Price as a case study for how society and under capitalism, women are literally just used for their youth and then tossed aside and demonized by those same corporations, which profited off her when she was youthful and the it girl. Also, I do just want to emphasize and stress this video is not to poke fun at or demonize Katie Price. It's quite the opposite, actually. It's more to think and discuss how literally any person could have fallen into the same circumstances as Katie Price, and now, as you see in present day, are left doing whatever is necessary just to make ends meet. However, obviously, just because on the internet you have to make things really obvious, I should say that just because I'm defending Katie Price in this video essay does not mean I agree with every single thing Katie has done in her life in the public eye. She is, however, the perfect example of how under capitalism and how society uses and views women, that you are simply to be sweated like an asset, and when you sadly no longer fit the standards for what society wants you for, you are literally just casted aside with zero support network, and you're just simply expected to be able to fend for yourself in this complete 180 switch up. Super weird. So let's get into it, shall we? I feel I should start by doing a quick Katie Price background info dump so that everybody has a vague idea of who she is and what she contributed to society and how things have gone the way they have. So welcome to this quick Who is Katie Price lesson. Katie Price was a very popular glamour model in the late 90s, notably for her work with The Sun as a page 3 girl, which is kind of like an ancient times OnlyFans creator. Well, not really, but it kind of gives you a vague idea if you use your imagination of what the sort of content on page 3 of The Sun was. All aspects of Katie's life was very well documented, from her boyfriends, her breakups, her highs, her lows, basically her every move. I guess a modern day example would be Addison Rae, perhaps. Not similar in content they make, of course, but how media deems it necessary to document every single move they make. And I suppose the similarity between Katie and Addison is how, societally speaking, people are so interested in these two figures at their respective time periods, of course. Yeah, anyways, fast forward a bunch of years to the last 5 or 6 years. Katie Price has recently declared bankruptcy and is forced to sell her prized possessions on websites like eBay to make ends meet. Now, the short answer to why this is, without thinking critically or without an ounce of compassion, would be to say that it's because she didn't manage her money correctly. It's her fault. She partied too hard and made bad financial decisions. Ugh, oh brother. But if you just look at all the information and news articles surrounding Katie Price with just an ounce of compassion, just a little bit, which I know on the internet is tough to do, you can quickly see why things turned out the way they did, and how 99% of people, if they were put in the same position as Katie, would have came out with the exact same outcome. We are no better than her. You can sit from your high horse and think, I wouldn't have done that, I would have done this, I would have invested it. But when you are in these situations and you're living that lifestyle, it probably is incredibly tough to make good decisions unless you have an incredible support network around you, which sadly a lot of people aren't fortunate enough to have that around them. And if you're still left thinking, I just wouldn't have gotten into her line of work, sitting there on your high horse, I guarantee if you were given the option, and if you were truthful with yourself for just a split second, if you were given the option to not have to work Monday to Friday for the next 40 to 50 years in an industry you don't really like, something you're not really passionate about, and the trade deal is presented to you we're just gonna take some high resolution JPEGs of you for our media outlets, and everyone will idolize and love you, and you in return will get more money than you ever could imagine. You can quickly see how that turns sour if you don't have a good support network. So, with that, the first big point I want to make in this video is how media preys on young women. When you are a young woman, you're wanted because you have that youth and you're deemed societally attractive. Everyone wants to work with you. You get offered to go on all these TV shows. You are basically groomed and forced to cater to a demographic if you wish to make money in the industry. And sadly, in young poor Katie Price's case, she had to cater to the worst possible demographic ever. Greasy, horrible, perverted men that only care about consuming woman-orientated content if it's of a sexual nature. And then, of course, as she got older, those glamour shoots and opportunities all began to become few and far between. Those same media publications that adored her and idolized her because she was youthful and the it girl are now demonizing and bashing her for how she looks. It's a lose-lose. They use you while you're young and then they kick you when you're down and out and still manage to profit off of that. There is no morality in media under capitalism. Being famous in the traditional sense means you are not blessed with the opportunity to fade off into obscurity like you can on YouTube. No, they will keep attacking you for years and years to come, taking pictures of you when you're in vulnerable states. Why? Because content, baby. They gotta keep that machine churning. If they're not grooming young women to cater for certain demographics so they can make lots of money, they're shitting on the older it girls because that just caters to another demographic so they can make more money. And this kind of naturally brings me on to my second point of this video, how media treats men and women so differently. Katie Price was once married to a chap called Peter Andre, and if you are from England and you ask your parents what they think of Peter Andre, they'll be like, oh, he's a lovely boy, he sung that lovely sweet song Mysterious Girl, and he did the Iceland adverts. I loved that. But then conversely, if you ask them about Katie Price, they will probably just regurgitate some horrible, disgusting headline that they saw about her on The Sun or The Mirror. But if you actually start to look into the content created around Katie Price and Peter back in the day when they were on shows and stuff, instead of just what the media pumps out about them now, you will see a very different picture and the actual reality of these situations. Peter was an absolute turnip of a human being. Look how he treated Katie.
What's with the face? Pete.
This is Kate. Hi, baby.
Here we go. Why do you always put me down?
It's in your ass. Is it in yet? And it doesn't mean my knob's small. It means your ass is big.
No.
But yeah, why is it that these news publications treat Katie and Peter like night and day, completely differently? Well, it's sexism. Good old sexism, that old chestnut we can't avoid. And capitalism loves it, baby. Oh God. One is, poor Peter opens up about how he feels when people treat him superficially. He's more than that, guys. He does Iceland adverts. Well done, Peter. You're doing great. And the other is literally taking pictures of Katie as she's just come out of surgery and titling it, she looks like she's been in a horrific accident. How is this fair? This is so unjust. And surely the journalists writing this, I know they have to do these things for their work, but surely they must feel morally horrific. How does this not plague you at night that you're contributing to this horrible system? These media outlets use women as lolcows. People to be made fun of and to laugh and point at like the town joker or something. And they do all of this because they know it's a timeless method that always just works. What's that? She's turned 25? Goodbye her being the hot it girl, because that one graph that shows no matter how old men get, they always want to date women in their early 20s apparently. Creepy. So once she does hit that big 2-5, not only is Leo no longer interested, but also we're gonna stop loving her and making her the it girl, and we're gonna just take photos of her in compromising positions, demonize her, make her seem horrible and horrific, despite the fact that you groomed her to cater to these demographics. And now that she's now been sweated to her maximum potential, you're just gonna shit on her because you can make money from that as well. And you're gonna do this for the next 20 years until she has a mental breakdown or worse. And then when that bad outcome does happen, you as an awful, immoral media outlet are gonna hold your hands up and be like, oh, mental health matters. And if I show you these fun infographics and link a couple of hotlines you can call if you're in trouble, that washes our hands of the horrible, immoral things we've done to this poor woman for the last 20 years. No, it doesn't. Pop news agencies are completely devoid of all compassion and morality. They are the most heinous byproduct of society. All they simply care about is making as much money as possible and do not care about how it affects the people they are using to make that money. And that, my friends, brings me on to point 3. Sorry if I've just monologued so seriously for this whole thing. But yes, point 3. These it girls, like Katie Price, were groomed and manipulated to cater to these male demographics, you know, to get the surgeries so you can be that top glamour model, and then chucked aside when you're deemed too old and that new young 20-year-old comes into the crowd. They're the new it girl. And now you're just some old cautionary tale we can now all point and laugh at, because that seems fair, doesn't it? The cycle just never ends. What a bleak world when you look at it like that. And I think this brings me on to my conclusion. And it's going to be quite a long conclusion because there's a lot to discuss within this. It'd be awkward if this conclusion is like 2 minutes now. Stay with me, I promise. So some of you watching this still may be thinking, well, Katie didn't have to do these things. If she had enough, why didn't she get a normal job? No one is hiring Katie Price. No company is going to see all the articles about Katie online and give her a traditional job. It just wouldn't work. You know, people wouldn't take her seriously, and you know, they would get unwanted people coming to the business premises just to be like, oh my god, it's Katie Price. You know, people would just continue to lolcow her. So it wouldn't be practical or smart to hire Katie in a traditional job role. So now you see her doing things like doing TikTok live shop, which if you know anything about TikTok live shops, it's basically like, do you know back in the day when you would go on Facebook and you'd see like people from your hometown being like, I've started this business, can you buy my fridge magnets? And they'd be awful and crap and just inferior product and not good, but you know, they're doing it because they're trying to make ends meet or whatever, and you just ignore it because they were most likely your high school bully and gave you a horrific time. So now why would you give them £3 for one of their crappy fridge magnets with spelling errors on? TikTok live shops are just like that. It's people selling complete crap and rubbish, inferior goods to people and taking advantage of their goodwill because maybe their name is a brand name, which is in Katie's case. Yes, she has this brand name. Some people are still fans of her, so they have a trust relationship with her as a fan, so they buy from her because they think, oh, if Katie's advertising it, it must be good. So that is a fair critique of Katie. She is now shoveling shit that if she was honest, she wouldn't use, and yes, she may say she uses it in the TikTok lives and such, but you know, realistically, it's not a good product. That's why it is so cheap. It's not some like sort of magical world where she has this amazing bargain for you. No, it's because it's crap product that they're just trying to sell in mass quantity on TikTok live to fans and taking advantage of them. So that, you know, you could argue that's an immoral thing for Katie to do, but she's pretty much just treating the world how she's been treated. She's become a product of her environment, and she's been taking advantage of her whole career. People have used her for the way she looked. Regardless of it being good or bad, they've managed to profit off of it. So now Katie is kind of doing the same thing, but to like her fans and like people that watch her. She's just shoveling shit to them. So it's like a vicious cycle. You get used by big companies and sweated like an asset. What do you have left to show? So then you use your fans and your audience that you've gained from that to make money yourself. So who's the real loser in all of this? Probably just the innocent, average, normal, everyday person buying into these things and buying from these TikTok live shops. They're probably the real loser here, because it's not like they're going to then go sell it on someone else. It's going to end up in a landfill tip, isn't it, realistically? Jesus, this is a bleak video essay. I promise we're going to start doing some more fun ones. I suppose the real point of this is it Katie's fault that she's now doing TikTok live shops? No, of course not. What a freaking tough existence it may have been. And yes, there must have been some very big highs, you know, when she was worth all that money. But for one reason or another, and how probably the media has treated her has probably impacted her mentally so much that it's left her in this situation. I don't think she is to blame. I think it's how society and how media has used her for like her whole life, pretty much. It's gonna leave you feeling some type of way that isn't positive, and in those situations you probably act out of character and done some bad things, and that's why you're now left in this situation where you're now having to like essentially be a street busker but digitally on TikTok, trying to gain money by selling crap to people. It's kind of sad. We're probably gonna see Katie Price continue to get sweated for content for like the next 15 or 20 years, and when she does, you know, try and take matters into her own hands and do things, she'll never be taken seriously. Why? Because the thoughts and feelings attached to the name Katie Price, it's a tough one. Traditional media will continue to mock her and then occasionally put a positive spin on it to make it seem like they're good guys in this, when no, you're the big horrible monster that does this to people. You take it girls and you make something of them, and then you completely drop them when you're done with them. You don't properly drop them, you still continue to make content off of them. In their downfall, you continue to make fun of them so you can make more money. It's like that end game boss that you just can't beat. And Katie has gone through all of this whilst trying to be a present mother. I can't imagine how tough that must be. Mentally, that must be so draining. You can clearly see she tries to be a great mother as well. Regardless of your thoughts and opinions on her and what she has done for society, whether you agree with the type of content she's made for society, whether you think it's at the detriment of society or you think it's a good thing, you know, Katie, despite all of that, has tried to be a present mother, which is commendable. And I personally hope that she can somehow escape this horrible media or find a way to profit off it in her own way and have a lovely life with her family. You know, you deserve that after you've been milked for everything, so that companies could sexualize you so that they can make money in this sexist, misogynistic, patriarchal way. And it sounds like I'm just saying buzzwords, but it actually all does mean something here. Women get exploited time and time again for rich men's gain, and it is a lose-lose for all parties apart from those rich old men. They will continue to win no matter what in traditional media, which sucks. So Katie, you know, I hope eventually you get the freedom to just be you without media outlets trashing you. I hope you can, you know, fade off into obscurity and just live a normal life. I think that would be nice for you, just to be a normal parent. And with it, I hope she doesn't, you know, just exploit her fans via TikTok live shop, you know. And that itself is a separate video essay, so I won't dive too much into that now, about the morality of selling on TikTok live as a social media influencer or as a person whose name carries branding and some weight, right? But yeah, I hope she can fade off into normality. And I think that's all I have to say about that. But please, you know, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this in the comments below. I'd love to have a conversation with you about this matter. I think it's a really interesting subject, and I think there's a lot to be said about it that I haven't probably even touched on in this video. So let's talk about it in the comments section. Yeah, and if you do want to watch another video essay, I will put one like here. I can swap hands. I will put one like here. I've been your boy Capitalism Sexism, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye.